Papa's Delicate Condition, Part 2. So the movie is this gentleman trying to make up for something by buying a circus. And that's like my dad being involved in this restaurant. He's trying to do something grandiose. Yeah, well, somebody else have fun with trying to diagnose that, because there's all kinds of implications when people do stuff grandiose that's out of their reach. Whatever it is, he's trying to do something, and it seems like his heart's in the right place, but it's way too big for him. Just like for Jackie Gleason, the circus is way too much, too many moving parts, too many tentacles here like an octopus. There's just too much. I loved this restaurant, though. And I guess I was guilty of trying to encourage my dad a little bit with my little 11, 12-year-old. I think I was 11, turning 12, something like that. That part was kind of self-centered, because when he first showed me the restaurant, the very first time, well, he had showed it to my mom, and then he brought me up there and showed it to me. It was amazing. One side, you walked in, there's the glass doors, typical glass doors in a regular restaurant. One side was a small little Italian-style restaurant with the gingham tablecloths and the small little candle lamps on the table, you know, cozy. And there was a divider down the middle. Like when you first walked in, you could go this way or that way. This side was a soda fountain. It was based on, like, you could have one side open and the other side closed. It was really clever the way it was designed. And this side had booths and was kind of 50s style with the black and white tiles and the red chairs. A little beat up, but it was a basically small fountain on the side of the little counter where you could fix ice creams and, you know, like a little joint. And so my dad said to me, if this goes, when you turn 16, I'll give you this side and you can run it. Really? Oh, man. And, you know, for somebody that's like really crushed in self-esteem, man, this was a bragging point at school. My dad bought me a restaurant. And, you know, that's a broken ego trying to overcompensate. Whatever it is, it worked. I felt so good about myself. And here's the coolest part of all. When I got involved in that restaurant and helped him clean out the old fridge, and there was a lot of damages that hadn't been opened in years, I felt like I didn't care what the kids at school thought. I mean, I did and I didn't, but it was like, I got something now. I got something. This is real. I can sink my teeth into. This is not like living in back of the pizza place in East Rutherford when I was a lot smaller. This was real. And Teaneck is a really cool town. It's a college town, and there's business. And right across the bridge, Fort Lee, you go over the GW, George Washington Bridge, for the O's that are not local. You go over the GW, and you're in the city. It's like, I feel like I'm on the map. In my mind, in my dream world, in my Wizard of Oz, you know, Emerald City land. But it was something to hold on to. I'm not going to say it was like as important as my monkey, but it was real. It was tangible. So when I'm cleaning and I'm doing everything I can, and mostly my dad said he didn't need me to clean. He wanted me to be in charge of the boys because it was summertime, and I was in charge. And like the little mama thing is really kicking in now. Now I'm older, and now I have some authority. I can tell my brothers what here, and you listen to me. And, you know, I didn't really want to be their boss, but I was the oldest and the only girl. So, it fell to me. Default was cool. This restaurant was beautiful. It was just beautiful, but apparently needed a lot of work. And the silent partner, again, that deal, expecting my dad to do everything. And my dad didn't have all that money. He had to go to my aunt and ask her for money. And there was my grandmother wasn't behind it. And my mom is getting sick of this. Okay, this is the family dynamic. And back of the dream, okay? This is the reality, and there's the dream, okay? And she's sick of it. She's helping my dad, but we've been through several iterations of him trying to take off and do a business. And she's had it, because in between time when he fails, just like in Papa's Delicate Condition, my dad turns to liquid. So it's so similar to the movie, except for the ending. You know, there was a happy ending in the movie. Okay, so we're going to keep going. So I'm very happy about this. I'm excited. I'm glad. Even though I have to babysit, I have to change Billy's diapers. And, there were cloth diapers. There were no Pampers. Hello. So we had to figure out what to do. Rinse them out. Gross. All right, just use your imagination. I'm washing out cloth diapers. So my mom's not happy. And this is when I think the differences started to really crop up in my mother and I's relationship. She needed me to be the little mother, but she resented having to work, and she wanted to be the one at home. The other thing is that I was starting to really look like my father. You see this little, they call it the widow's peak? Well, my dad had it real deep, and back then, before I started losing hair, I had that widow's peak, and I really, really did look like him with that dark hair and the Melville nose. And there was she would even say, "You look like your father." And it wasn't a compliment. And so there was always this snarky stuff started sneaking in between us. And my fallback was my grandmother. I mean, if you're not going to love me, I'm going to turn to my grandmother. And it wasn't that conscious. It was just okay, this pond is dried up. I'm going over here to get a drink of fresh water. That kind of instinct that a kid does. And I think that's when the problems really started to kind of really come out, bloom like a tree. Different branches go different ways between me and my mom. But, you just keep going. What do you do? I mean, I kept going. I just kept going. And, I'm going to make sure I get this right. And there was also the piece that my grandmother would take me to New York City, and she'd take me to Macy's basement where the shoe sale was and bring me back with all these clothes that my mother couldn't afford to buy. A little bit of stuff going on there. And also that my mother probably would have liked to have those shoes herself. And so there was, I'm not going to say my mother was jealous because that's too much, but there was resentment, little tiny bitternesses. And now I look back now, I see where we were starting to not be mother and daughter. I was a worker. I was her support. I was her rescuer, but we didn't have this nice thing that we're supposed to have. And, my fault, her fault, life, no fault. It just was that way. And I got through it. I'm okay. I'm not going to say it wasn't hard, but again, I want to always emphasize when I'm telling these tough things that I got through it. Okay, I think I covered that. I look like my dad, my Okay, I think I got everything. Papa's delicate condition, that was the Teaneck restaurant part of it. And next part is the purple DeSoto. That'll be the part 3 of Papa's delicate condition. All right. Coming attractions in 10 minutes. I'm such a goofball.